whatever I want to do, I should probably do the exact opposite of, because
Yeah.
you never want to be part of the herd or the flock, because that's really where you get burned, right? And
That's so funny. I do that now too. Exactly what you said.
but it's hard because
Yeah, it
it
is.
goes against your like human nature. But for me, it's like, the more years you spend in Bitcoin, the more you kind of understand how it is. And I've made a lot of mistakes, and even like in the last couple of years, I've made mistakes. And Rajat's actually been a big part of changing my mentality a little bit around this. Where now it's like, if somebody out there has like a salary or kind of a consistent income that's coming in, you look at right now where it's like 40% down. It's kind of been chopping sideways for the last 6 months. Now is the time where you do want to be allocating the majority of your funds into Bitcoin. And then as that kind of rides up and you start going from, let's say, 80 to 100 to 120 all time high, and then above that, that's where maybe if you have that same amount of like steady income coming in, or net income every month, that's maybe where you start actually allocating more towards cash at that point versus Bitcoin. And whereas times like this, where it's down significantly, maybe out of 100% split, maybe you go 80% Bitcoin, 20% cash. And then when Bitcoin's up and you're getting less sats for the same amount of dollars, maybe that's when you start kind of stockpiling some cash, maybe 80% cash, 20% Bitcoin. And then you can just ride the waves with it. And then when it comes back down, you're sitting on some cash. And so I think that if you kind of think intelligently about this, you kind of go off a little bit of history, but also what you expect to happen. You can actually do pretty well if you just are willing to put in a little bit of time. But none of that is like panicking. There's no panic there. It's just like what makes the most sense based on where we are right now, and how many sats you can get for the dollars that you have, and then you kind of just look at the 200-day moving average or the X whatever you want to use, and just kind of follow that as your intelligent strategy.
It's just consistency. That's it.
100%.
You just keep doing it.
Proof of work, showing up every day. We were talking about this the other day. Just being a professional means showing up, doing the same thing over, doing the monotonous thing over and over again. And that's the difference between amateurs and people that get like Vitalik. Like we just talked about Mark Cuban. Cuban didn't get the Ethereum memo apparently. And I just saw something about Cardano, people starting to rage quit over Cardano, which again, I don't know why that's taken 10 years, but people have blinders on and we lose focus. We talked about this many times too with Bitcoiners. You come to Bitcoin because it's a need to know basis. You've got something wrong and you're putting in the work. You've got rug pulled from these other things. You don't get here just because it's like, oh, hey, I had a dream one night, and it's because it's through the work. It's through the repetition over and over again. Being a professional. That's what a professional operator is. It's someone who's being professional over their life, showing up, having a budget, which most people don't even have a budget, let alone an income statement, let alone a balance sheet, let alone a cash flow statement. You're going down the levels here of depth, right? And so, you guys, business owners, accountant, financial brains. So like, I don't need to tell you three that, but the average person is just completely lost, right? Because the power of parenting, parents not telling them, not showing them, not including them in the money conversations as they grow older. School, obviously not involving you in any of that, because why would they want you to understand what you're doing with your finances or how to be independent? So again, just the broken incentives everywhere around society. But the moral of the story is just showing up every day. To you guys' point, being a professional about your life in all areas. And that's the difference, whether you're an operator in the armed forces, which is my example I use with hockey, because obviously I played hockey, but my buddy who was an Army Ranger, and we talk about this all the time, the difference between the professionals and the amateurs, where same tactics, they do the same things. It's just one group of people operated the same way every single day and upheld that integrity, that standard. And then the amateur is just kind of lost. They do it right the one time, and then it takes them 11 more times to do it right. And they're just kind of lost. They're ADDing it, and they're just like all over the place and whatever. That can't happen if you're going to be a serious person.
Yeah, I think that applies.
Go ahead, Rashanta.
I was going to say, I think that applies to everything, right? It applies to starting a business. It applies to fitness. It applies to eating healthy.
Yes.
And it just, I love the fact that everything just compounds and it just keeps compounding. And like, let's say, for example, let's say you just eat out all the time, and then you cut it down to, let's say you eat out 7 days a week and you cut it down to 6 days a week. that last day you're gonna have to find something to eat that you're not gonna get from outside. And what do? You cook. Maybe you have to make something, and maybe the food that you make tastes like shit, but that one day you made something and you tried and you attempted to do something that could potentially lead to you cooking every single day and really wanting to cook and wanting to meal prep and being able to save that money. Like, think about that. That compounds into you being able to buy more Bitcoin. You being able to cook, you being able to cook compounds into you being able to buy more Bitcoin. Like, that's the way it like all roads. Jory, you said this a few days ago, and it reminds me of it. All roads lead to Bitcoin. If you have the most Bitcoin, you have the most freedom. You have the most of your time. And if you can find ways to get more Bitcoin, why not?
There's also the thing that I wanted to bring up when Brandon was talking about, because I love sports analogies. I love that with saving, with budgeting, with content creation, with whatever actually. Because you see in sports that the people that know, let's say for example soccer, or like for hockey is probably the same thing, for swimming it's the same thing. There's the people that know swimming, the people that know how to play soccer and how to do a strategic match and all of those things, and they might play they might train like 3 times a week, and they might play once on Saturday on like some non-amateur, like a little bit more professional. Maybe they get like $1,000-2,000 a month for it. Like they're on a good level. They're not bad. They're really good. Like if they play against like the average dude, they will kill him. They are so much better. But there's a difference between them and like the best of the best. And the difference is like the last 5 to 10%. It's the last like a few perfection things, like staying after the workout another 30 minutes to train like the free kick or like the jump in the water or whatever people in hockey do to get better. So like it's like the last few percent. And the same with budgeting and like planning things. Most people, they get a salary, they have one bank account, they have one investing account, and that's it. And they don't think about, okay, how do I do the allocation between emergency accounts that I need for my operating business, or for myself, like operating my family, or operating just myself. What do I invest in? What are the different options? Having an open mind of all the different options. I mean, we all are now in the Bitcoin because we had to prove that we have an open mind about it. Otherwise, we would have said, oh, it's a shit coin, it's like a bad thing, it's a scam, and we'd have not looked at it twice. Like that's the nice thing about Bitcoin. Like you have to kind of prove that you have an open mind, because your judgment before was probably a bad thing. I don't know, like you three probably also had a thing like me before you got into Bitcoin, like it's a scam, it's not a good thing, like why would it even make sense? I had it for 3 years, I ignored it because of that reason. And so you have to kind of prove that and like give the last 10%, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's the hard part, is getting over that. And that's where a lot of people just don't do it, because it's difficult. And I was kind of thinking of the food there, going back to Rajat. Like before we started the show today, we were talking about movies and how we kind of came to the conclusion that there hasn't been a good comedy movie since Hangover or Superbad, like 2007, 2008, 2009, which coincidentally aligns with the great financial collapse. And so you just think how many things tie back to fiat. Movies even being one of them, comedy movies, and the division and trying to, not wanting to offend people, and what kind of impact that has on society. But even with the food there, it's like,
sorry, Jor, didn't The Office come out then too?
Yeah, The Office and the first couple
That's
seasons of The Office were the
crazy.
best ones too.
That's crazy. Everything aligns. Sorry, go ahead with what you're saying. Sorry, you were
No, you're good. You're good. It just, everything kind of goes back to that, and you wonder why. Like, I live at kind of a lake here, so it's kind of like a summer. In the wintertime, there's like 40 people that live here. In the summer, there's 10 or 20x that. But you see people walking around in like bikinis and swimsuits or whatever it is. And it's just like, I don't know, in the last decade or two, I've really noticed that people have gotten a lot thicker, a lot fatter. And I kind of feel bad saying that, but it's it's my observation. It's reality. I might offend people, but like if you look at women, men, both sides of the aisle here, like people are significantly more overweight than they were 10 or 15 years ago. And I think that a lot of that has to do with the seed oils. And a lot of that has to do with people not having enough time in their life because they're so busy in fiat land that they can't source good food and have time to cook their own food. So they go to Arby's or McDonald's or to whatever it is. And that's like a societal level problem that we're seeing right now. It's just like, it's not even close. If you look at a picture from not even that long ago, I mean, you go back to the 60s and it's like a whole different world. But like even like 2010 versus 2026, you look at a picture of people on the beach, it's like night and day. And it's not just because people got lazier, but it's because of the food and without wanting to run the prices up of a Big Mac, they have to make shittier ingredients, and it's all seed oils. And it's just, you see that trickling into every aspect of life. And kind of what, to tie to what we're talking about here, it's like you have to understand that system is broken. That system cannot be fixed. And you have to show up every single day and contribute and store your wealth in the what do we got here? Beach picture?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just the world's different now. And I think that a big part of that is seed oils and fiat and just driving the costs of everything down as low as possible without, making people sleep on the streets, even though a big population is now. It's like, there's so many aspects of that, but all you can do is contribute, take that, put it in Bitcoin, and do it every single day. No matter if it's 77K, 707,000K, you have to do it every single day. No matter what the amount is, $5, $10, $15, take it out of the fiat system, put into Bitcoin, but you can't do it whenever you feel like it or whenever you have some extra money. It has to be something that you do every single day. And, kind of what Brandon and Robin were talking about, we probably won't see the impact of that for a decade out. But looking back, the people who showed up every day and the people who bought Bitcoin every day are going to be the ones who are in a much different situation than those who didn't.
I have a little bit of
question.
On that. Sorry.
I just have a question just on Canada, because I've noticed whenever I fly from Europe to America, people are significantly more fat in America than in Europe. Just like in general, like on an average. Is that the same in Canada, or is Canada different from the USA?
I'd say the USA's the biggest.
Yeah.
Like when I went to Portugal in 2024, like I really noticed the food quality. Like it's very good there in Portugal compared to what it is here. Everything here is very processed. Yeah. And that has significant impact on the digestive system, on everything. Like I don't think people are lazier here in Canada than they would be in Europe. Maybe some certain pockets of, different parts of the countries, but like overall it's the food. And Bridge here, she doesn't eat like gluten. She's whatever it's called, gluteniac or celiac. I think it's celiac. But she ate everything she wanted there. She ate pasta, she ate bread, she ate everything there because it's actually made fresh with good ingredients. So it really has nothing to do with like the grains itself. It's all the processed bullshit that we have here in Canada. And I think it's even worse in the US personally.
You said you had a point, Rashad, of like I think pushing back against what Jor said.
I was gonna say. So Jor, I agree with what you said. Everything you said was great. But I feel like in certain people's situations, they can't buy every day. Like let's say, for example, if you're an entrepreneur and you're getting income, let's say you get just like lump sums of income.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you said was great for building the habit.
Yep.
And when you have skin in the game, it makes you study it.
Yep.
Makes you study Bitcoin. But at a point, I feel like at a point, you're going to buy no matter what. Like I personally don't have a weekly buy. I don't have a daily buy. I don't have a DCA. I just buy literally whenever I have extra cash.
Yeah.
But it took me time to get to this point. So I get what you're saying. In the beginning, I think what you said, it does apply. Like if you have $1,000, buy $10 a day. And just leave that and just keep it going, because you'll go through the volatility. You'll be benefiting from it. But if you've been doing it for like 3-4 years and you've studied it, I think at that point you can kind of just buy whenever you want to. So let's say you get a deposit of $5,000 and you only need 2,000 of it, 3,000 immediately go into Bitcoin.
Yep. Agree. And I just think that it makes, I mean, I do both. Like if I get a paycheck or something, like I'll smash by two. But I just like the idea of like, and the reason why I like the daily so much is because then you don't care about the price. And that's what I was going to say, Rajat, is like you're already at the point now where you don't care what the
Yeah.
price is. But for the people, like when I first got into Bitcoin, man, I was checking the freaking price every day, like 10 times a day. And it's stressful because if you got some money on the sidelines, you're like, should I buy now? Should I wait till tomorrow? What's it going to be tomorrow? And then you miss it and you're like, shit, I missed that.
Yeah.
Now what am I going to do? Whereas if you're just buying every single day, you don't care what the price is because you're literally buying at every price. So it takes out the stress, the anxiety, all that, which I think is a big hurdle for people who are somewhat newer into Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's there's this thing where, especially in the beginning, you check things so regularly. Like I remember the first, even before was even more urgent when I was in Tesla and I haven't discovered Bitcoin yet. I checked Tesla like every single day, and Sunday was horrible for me. Saturday was horrible because I couldn't see the price. Now with Bitcoin, it's even worse because you can check the Bitcoin price literally whenever. Because if
4
the
a.m. too.
Europeans sleep, the Americans are up, and so like whenever you have a wake time, you can check the news cycle of Bitcoin every single. There's on Saturday in the morning some drama happening, which is resolved on Sunday afternoon already. And like the news cycle is crazy because the price is always moving, and there's always a story. Bitcoin fell from 77.5K to 73.4K. That's why. And there's like 100 different news articles on that. It's, I mean, that's BS, but it makes it anxiety inducing for new people, and that's why I think the habit of just buying DCA and not trying to time the market is a really good one.